And welcome back to another podcast with Mr. Hagan. On this podcast, we're going to continue to talk about the personal income tax calculator. We're going to continue to build this idea. And let's just kind of review where we are. We have our input box, which is up here, the blue. That's personal information and tax law information that you plug into there. That's then going to bring you down here, and it's going to calculate your taxes based on the brackets and the tax rates that you enter. Then that's going to give you a final number. Here's how much you owe in taxes. This is going to be your total. And then that's going to feed back up here into your output box. Okay, that's going to calculate your final taxes owed and your average tax rate. Now, from that, we want to build a paycheck stub. And so we started this a little bit on the previous podcast. And one of the things that we did was we said that we're now going to input our income down here and your spouse's income, if you have one, to here, and then those two are going to get added together and feed up to your income up here. So this is going to become your ultimate two input boxes right there. Those two cells right there are going to be the most important. Now, we then take your income, your $55,000 of income. I'm just using that as a number. And we're going to divide that by 26, and that's going to give you right here your gross pay. So your gross pay is going to be C15 divided by 26. And you could change this if you needed to, maybe get paid every month. It'd have to be divided by 12 or whatever it is. Okay, and then same thing over here for the spouse's income. If they have any, divided by 26 is going to give a number right here. Now, federal taxes are going to be a little bit confusing. So let's go to the federal taxes. We're going to need to use an if statement here. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if B5 is equal to 1, that would be right here. If B5 is equal to 1, that means that you're not married. Then, remember, that's what this comma means. If B5 equals 1, this logical test right here, if B5 equals 1, then the number that goes into this cell is going to be E18, your federal taxes, divided by 26. That is to say, if you're the only one in the family, if you're not married, let's keep it that way. If you're not married, then it's going to take your taxes owed, which is right here, divide them by 26, and that's what's going to come off your paycheck. Okay, that's what's going to have to come off your paycheck. So that would be this number right here. If, on the other hand, if B5 equals 1, then we take your taxes divided by 26, and that comes off your paycheck. But if you're not married, comma, otherwise, if you are married, comma, otherwise, let me say all that again. If you're married, comma, E18 divided by 26. Otherwise, if you're not married, that's what that comma means. If you're not married, then we're going to take your taxes from E8, that's right here, divided by 2, because your spouse is going to pay half of it, divided by 26. Okay? So that would mean if we change this number right here, if I change this number to 2 or to 1, watch how this number is going to change. If I change this number to 1, okay, then all the taxes are going to come out off of your paycheck. All right? If I change it to 2, then it's going to split the taxes between yourself and your spouse. Okay? So this is going to be the key. This is going to be a key number up here. And then over here for your spouse, we're going to say if B5 equals 1, that means that you're single, which means you don't have a spouse. Then that means the taxes paid by your spouse are going to go to 0. So that's going to put a 0 in here. If you are married, then the other half of your federal taxes owed, this $5,500 in this case, or $550 in this case, is going to be divided by 2, divided by 26, and that's the other half of the federal income taxes coming off of your spouse's check. Okay, and you could divide this up any way you want, whose paycheck it's going to come off of, but we're just going to divide it in half. All right, now we got to pay Social Security off of our paycheck. So to do that, we're going to take our gross income on our paycheck, which was this number right here, $2,115.38 a paycheck. Multiply that by your Social Security tax, and that's going to give you your number in here, which is, in this case, $131.15. All right? And then you're just going to do the same thing the rest of the way down. You're going to take this number right here, this C16, and you're going to multiply that by your Medicare tax to get this number, multiply by your state taxes to get this number, and so on and so forth it goes. Now, you might have noticed that I have this little dollar sign in here in front of the number 16, and that's just if you want to try copying and pasting. You could copy this and paste it through these others, and that's going to, if you do that, this dollar sign in front doesn't mean dollars in this case. It's going to hold that number 16 constant. If you don't do that and you copy and paste, it's going to change that number for every one of these. And you can play with that if you want to try it. If you don't want to play with that, then just do each one separately, right? Just do your, do your C16 cell, your gross pay, multiplied by your tax, gives you this number. Gross pay multiplied by your state tax gives you this number, and so forth. Okay? Now, same thing for your spouse. You come over here and you do the same set of formulas for your spouse to get the Social Security through the unemployment. Now we come down here to retirement. Now we need another if statement. Okay, we're going to do the same thing that we did with the federal taxes. And we're going to say this. We're going to say if B5 equals 1, that's right here. If you're single, then your retirement contributions are going to be however much you are putting into retirement, B7 divided by 26. That's how much would be coming from each of your paychecks into your retirement savings, into your contributions, say to your 401k. On the other hand, if you are married, then you're going to take your retirement and you're going to divide it by 2 because your spouse is going to do half of it, and then divide by 26. So let's just see what happens here. If I put a 1 in, then this number here is going to change. If I put in a 1, then all the retirement contributions are going to be coming off of your paycheck. If I put in a 2, then it's going to split it between your 2 paychecks. Okay? And then down here is going to be your net paycheck. That's net paycheck. It's going to be calculated by you're going to take this right here, your gross pay, and then you're going to subtract away your federal, Social Security, Medicare, all that retirement, and then after all of those come off your paycheck, here's what you actually get to take home, okay, that you can use to buy goods and services and so forth. And then you would do the same thing with your spouse's income. The total income over here, that's just adding the 2 together. So here's your gross income. That's just adding these 2 together. This is your gross income per pay. So your spouse, is $2,115.38 per paycheck. Sorry, that's you. Your spouse is $884.62 per paycheck for a total of $3,000 between the 2 of you. Here's the total federal tax per paycheck, Social Security per paycheck, and so forth, all the way down. Here's the total retirement. And then what I really should have here, let's finish this off, is this last box here at the bottom is going to be your paycheck plus your spouse's paycheck. So we're going to do C25, and then we're going to say plus D25, and that's going to give you this number right here. And then I'm going to highlight these 3 down here. I'm going to bold these, okay, so that we can see them very obviously. All right, so that's pretty cool. Now we got a paycheck for yourself and for your spouse, and we have your total income every 2 weeks. Your total amount of money that you and your spouse under these situations will have $1,663.61 for buying goods and services. All right, I'm going to stop there because I've gone a little bit long here. We got one more thing to do. I think we only have one more thing to do in this personal income tax calculator. We're going to create one more column over here and to do some total numbers, and then this is going to be done, and then we can start putting in some real numbers from the real tax codes At least for I'm doing this, making these videos in 2018. So we can put in the 2018 numbers and see what happens, and just kind of play around with this. All right, so thanks for joining me on our podcast. It's been Mr. Hagan, and we'll see you on the next podcast.